everyone. Welcome to Astral Connections. And here with me, I have Amit Thural. Welcome, Amit. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you.
I basically was on Clubhouse last night in one of the groups, and Amit shared one of his stories and his experiences. So I wanted to learn more. And so I contacted him, and he graciously accepted. So before we talk about anything else, maybe Amit, can you tell us a little bit about your life, about where you grew up, and your background a little bit?
Sure, I can. I'm born and raised in a city called Chandigarh, which is 3 hours north of New Delhi, and I was raised in a very loving home with I think that's a very strict disciplinarian sort of upbringing as well. But my mom's a deeply spiritual, religious woman,
Oh,
and I think it's her belief in spirituality and perhaps the metaphysical that perhaps saved me on many occasions. I would credit her with a um, lot for all the things that have gone right in my life. I would say it's been her prayers and blessings.
uh,
um,
yeah, our parents are whose blessings we survive on, right?
no, absolutely, absolutely. But she's deeply, I can just, I think every child feels that, but I don't think I can only say that, I haven't met similar souls,
Wow.
anywhere else. Yeah, I
Wow.
haven't. Yeah, just it's a my life compared to the stories that they probably have to share. Is perhaps there's nothing. I mean, they have impacted lives, they've changed lives, they've helped and supported wherever with limited means, whatever little that they had, they've only given, and always given. So that's something that really I find fascinating. And we speak about that now. And the one line that my mother's explanation would be that God enables only those that or empowers only those that He knows that can follow. Right.
Right.
The empowerment is only given to those that can carry out uh,
Yes.
and then do the things that are required to be done. So that was it. I grew up. It was a small business background. Um, I my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, he used to kind of teach us. He's been a great influence on my life. He passed away last year. We lost him
Oh,
almost at the advanced age of 97. And again, the kind of impact in lives that my maternal grandfather is impacted. I can't even it's possible to even difficult to even count on my fingers the amount of lives that he would have impacted personally.
wow.
So it's been that kind of that kind of environment where
So
it's
you
just
come
been.
from a family.
Yeah. So I have, I've been married for 15 odd years. I'm a lawyer. I studied as a lawyer. I grew up and I was a corporate lawyer. I progressed in my career. In fact, only yesterday I got I was recognized as one of the top 100 general counsels in India. So
Congratulations.
thank you so much. Thank you so much. So God has been kind in that sense. I've always felt that I've just been held. I've just been carried through various challenges that life threw at me. And I think, like, just like everybody else, I've had my share of ups and downs. And but I'm proud to say that I've always felt that I was just when I needed it, I was looked after. And it's been that
Wonderful.
sense of belief. The sense of belief has just been reinforced in me ever since, every time. So I
Wonderful.
I I think I'm good at looking at recognizing patterns. I'm good at connecting dots, and
Okay.
I'm good at I'm also intuitive. Okay, intuitive is a word that I'm probably using now, but all my life
Yeah.
I've had experiences where I'll be thinking of something, and then it would be as simple as somebody calling. But it
Right.
also would be that I would be thinking of a situation, and very randomly I would suddenly it would just so happen that the things would get the environment, the circumstances would uh, would evolve to my favor. So can
Right.
I don't know if I can say that. And I
Yes.
felt that I felt that numerous times of my life, and in fact, the last 3 to 4 months have been extreme. 3 months perhaps have been even more pronounced. So that's something that I feel uh, I'm not sure how to.
What do you think made it more pronounced in the last 3 or 4 months?
Just noticing. I'm just noticing things that are happening. I to okay.
Or
One small example I could give you is I was talking to somebody who needed you know a certain somebody needed certain something. He was looking at establishing a sort of a hemp supply for his he's got a personal hygiene products manufacturing business, women's personal hygiene products manufacturing business. I spoke to him and I kind of said, okay, look, I think I met somebody that you might be you might find useful to connect with. And this person that I'm suggesting, I've only spoken to once before, and there is no, and the next morning that person invites me to have a chat with him. And I'm
oh,
thinking, I'm procrastinating on him. I'm not calling him for 2 3 days, 2 days, and then suddenly, he calls me. He just sets up a time with me so that I can get an opportunity to actually speak to him about it. So things like that. I mean,
yeah,
uh, not always very clearly explainable, but that happens. That happens a
yeah,
lot.
yes. So I
Yes.
see lots of books behind you. Did you do lots of research?
This is, I won't go by that. These are, I'm actually in my, this used to be my office when I had just become a lawyer in
Okay.
the year 2000. I created this, I had got all the books and everything. And then I was practicing and working over here. And then in 2002, I left this home where I am right now. This is my parents' home. Now my
Yeah.
home, of course, and my kids' home.
Yeah.
But I grew up in this house, but I left the city and lived out of and worked in Mumbai. I left my city since in 2002 and I only came back in 2020. So, I've been away from home. I would come sporadically, with, for a few days. I've never spent this amount of time. And I would say that has also got something to do with it. It's the
Wow.
spiritual energy in this house, which I believe is so strong. My mother has a small, it's like an entire room in the house, which is a temple, a Hindu temple, and she would,
The
yeah,
puja.
the puja. Yes, there would be a priest who would come every morning around 6 a.m. He would do the aarti, the awakening of,
Yeah.
and then in the evening he would come again to kind of. So it's like a continuous servicing of the puja room. It's
Yes.
looked after, and that's been going on for perhaps I don't know 25, 30 years. So it's
Wow.
that
So
kind
they're
of energy.
energized, fully energized all the
Yeah,
time.
fully energized all the time. Yes.
Wonderful. So tell
Yes.
me about your metaphysical experiences that you've had before having the one you talked about in CH.
So the metaphysical experiences before I'll have to think about it, a little bit in terms of how should I say it? I think it's just it's just recognizing that there has been a larger hand at play.
Right.
That recognition that comes into my mind. There's just been somebody looking after you.
Yes.
Can I say that? And I know I'm saying it very simplistically, but I mean, I've had situations which have been sweet. I mean, I've loved and lost. I've lost a sibling
Oh no.
in difficult. So I mean, just randomly, and that's had a huge impact. My sister. We lost her in 2014. She
Oh
left
no.
behind two young kids, and all of us,
Oh
the
no.
family, had to gear up to kind of ensure that the future of those kids is protected, and
Yes.
so so it's been like that. It's been tough situations, but it always has been the path of least resistance, perhaps, that just gets created, and
Yeah.
the family and just sails through. So I'm grateful to God for the powers that be for that. Um, Metaphysical. I don't know. I mean, I would. I remember when like any teenager mother, my mom used to be worried about me getting into falling into bad company, and then she's always believed in, I don't know, in Hinduism we have something called the upai, that you would, like, you
Called
would
what?
carry out a ritual, and then the energy clearing would happen or something would happen, right? And I've had my mother would be able to, she's been told a few things that she says, and she's told me that this is going to happen, and you know not surprisingly it does happen.
Right.
It happens that way, like she just, she just knows. And sometimes, like, it's that's the metaphysical, I can't explain that, that's the metaphysical side of it, which is
Yeah.
that there have been things that she has been told that she then kind of would tell me about, and then she says, look, can you now connect the dots, this is how it played out. So I guess I've been always been a believer in those, in that sense. I've always believed that in the higher connectedness, and uh, I think the awareness of interconnectedness, of course, perhaps became even more pronounced for me after a psychedelic experience. You know, and
Tell me
uh,
about your psychedelic experience.
so I was, I was a Burning Man. I've been to Burning Man 3 times,
Yeah.
and the first time around when I went, I had, I was just simply left awestruck, and I was like, okay, look, I'm a brown boy from a small town in India, and finding myself in the middle of, some of the greatest experiments in arts and community. And I was just awestruck, and I didn't really understand the principles. I didn't really understand what was going on, and how that
Right.
entire thing worked. But I realized that there was something greater there. It was, layers upon layers, and I was really, I was intrigued by everything that was happening there. And it's the second time around I went when I realized the magic of, just, I realized it the first time, and the last 2 days where, I would say this group of, three New York firemen who were kind of camping right next to my camp. And when the friends that I was traveling with, they suddenly had to leave on a Friday evening, and I find myself completely alone, completely out of my comfort zone, and not knowing, completely felt abandoned, in the sense that,
Yeah.
okay, look where I'm in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
The group that I came along with, they had to leave suddenly, and now I'm just on my own and what to do. And it just so happened that my these three guardian angels, if you can call them, the firemen came to the rescue, and they were like, okay, look, uh, well, you got an RV with a with a you've got some frozen pizzas there. Why don't we just set up, just offer pizzas to anyone who's walking by? And we
Right.
did that beautifully. I think it was just beautiful street giving sort of a thing that happened.
Right.
And they said, and then they took me on a ride. I mean, they said, look, let's show you Burning Man from our perspective. And I probably had, I mean, what I remember is, of course, my mind was blown away by the experiences I had that night, in terms of just seeing the various from their perspective, because I just wouldn't have tapped
Right.
into that. I
Right.
tried the next time when I went, I tried finding that. I understood that it's about giving. I understood that, once you give more and you're able to tap into that energy of the places when the magic at Burning Man starts happening. And that's what happened with me. I had carried, my way of gifting at Burning Man that year was like, I carried a little Polaroid camera, and I would just take Polaroids of, people who would be there, and I would just give them the Polaroid shot, and they would just be all happy and shining, and they would be so grateful. And I realized that that worked, more and more. And the more I did that over the next two days, I just felt that, look, I was contributing in, to somebody else's experience at Burning Man. And
Right.
over the next 2 days, just things just started happening. I mean, it was, one of the most amazing experiences in terms of, how should I say it? I ended up on a bus with, I think, Diplo and six other people on a bus at 6 a.m. in the morning, and things are happening. Um, they, I, in the middle of, I don't know, about 600 people at Mind Warrior, there would this, a shamanic sort of type, lady just came and just, in the middle of, he just pointed towards me, like, it's you. We need, where have you been? We need more of you. And, look what they're doing to the earth. And she, hugs me, and I break down. And, it was like, why would somebody just randomly come to me and say that to me, right? And then in terms of, in terms of, I don't know, perhaps, getting, there are super art cars there. There are these super art cars, which I believe, I was looking at them from a distance, and I'll go back, and where it just so randomly happened that I got offered a ride on it. So I was, taken. It was magical. It was magical to, that experience was completely magical, where I actually felt that, the participating and giving in the community kind of elevates your experience, how you tap into that Burning Man magic, as they might call it.
Right.
And that's when I think one of those nights is when that the experiences I shared happened as well, where uh, in fact, I was volunteering at the artery. I remember at the time, and
Yeah.
I had just I was just the entire, I was part of the let's say, the team that was really preparing for this party that the artery had thrown to welcome all the artists that have installed they've installed their art at Burning Man. And of course, some extremely talented people and just kind, gracious souls from all over the world who came there, who created their art just to see it disappear and
Right.
burn in a few days, right?
Burn
So
into
it's just an
nothing.
amazing, absolutely, absolutely. So just to be surrounded with that energy was something that I was drawn to, and that is why I volunteered. But and I was doing that. I remember that I was part of the team that was preparing the hors d'oeuvres, that would be served at the party. And I remember there was this gentleman who came, and was he was not in distress, but he just looked. He was sweating. He
Right.
was happy, and he was friends with a few other people there. So he just came, stopped by, was chit chatting, and I could sense that he could use some water, and we had some. The camp
Right.
had some mint, some infused water, as you might call
Right.
it, something just to balance out the energy. And I gave that to him. He felt really gracious, and he said, "Look, come, and I've got a gift for you, and I'm going to show you something." And I said, "Okay, look." So three of us, him and I asked another friend at the artery to just come along, just to make sure that I'm not walking into anything funny. And it was because I think I was operating. I still had a little awkwardness in my mind at that time, and but I went, and he just, like, he had pitched a one person tent out in the deep playa, like you had to cycle all the way, and then there's
Right.
barely anybody around, and he goes inside in tent and pulls out this machine, which was
What kind of a
he,
machine?
he says this is really, I mean, you try it out. He says this is really it was like this big
Right.
and like freestanding, and he says you could hold it. There was like grip there, and you could, he says, try working it. It, the motion was like this, right?
Right.
But when you move it, it just felt completely counterintuitive, because the motion and the way it was like pushing back on you, or the entire motion felt very, very, very different. I mean, nothing that I had ever experienced, right?
Right.
Um, and I remember being really awestruck by him. And I remember asking him, like, what is this? This feels really like alien, right?
Yeah.
Like almost an anti-gravity sort of a drive, as you could say it.
Right.
I mean, I can't even explain to you how, like, a normal exercise machine, a hand holding machine that rotates like this
Yeah.
would expect that it would have like a downward force, and you're going, and
Yeah.
it's like a upper body workout. But this machine was just weird. Like, you push down, but you're not feeling that, the force, downward force. It would just,
Right.
it was different.
There was
It
no
was
resistance.
it was unexplainable. I couldn't process it. And I remember using the exact, I remember even using the word that was, it felt so alien, like an alien
Right,
technology.
right,
Even then, like even a couple of years later, like I'm telling that story to a couple of friends later as well. And I mentioned that.
right,
But in my mind, I always dismissed it as okay, it must have been like a proprietary sort of a thing that got developed by someone. And
right,
because he was talking to me, okay, so you're an IP lawyer, how do you patent it? And then how can I'm worried about that somebody might steal the technology. So he's
right,
having that conversation with me, right?
right,
Because he says, look, this is something which doesn't exist. So he's
right,
talking to me about that. And I'm having a very serious lawyerly IP, intellectual
right,
property lawyer kind of
right,
conversation with him. And then trying to make sense of it. And he says, like, so kind. And then we kind of part ways. He did, I think he invited, but I just kind of said, look, thank you so much. And we headed off in another direction. And I remember feeling that obviously it left an impact in my mind. And I remember feeling that, oh my God, like, oh my God, like what just
right,
happened, right? And that was one. And then I think the following night or the same night, and I'm all by myself. My volunteering thing. And I went out and I'm just trying. I'm sober, and
yeah,
uh, I remember at somewhere around maybe 2 a.m. in the morning or 1:30. I'm exhausted, and I see some people just huddling on the side. There was a little camp, and
right,
uh, there was fenced off. It was a fenced off camp. Usually camps are open, but this one was
yeah,
fenced off for some reason. And just on the fence, there were like two people on the other side of the fence, and about three people on this side of the fence were just standing. This man, one of the men were grilling something. It was like a large grill,
right,
and there was like a blue flame that was flowing into it. And they had these weird, which I thought was octopuses, like small things,
right.
small eight-legged sort of things. They were grilling, and I remember thinking, okay, I was really hungry. I'm like, okay, now they're grilling. So I just stood there and said hi, and I'm looking at but they are grilling. It just felt really. It looked like an octopus. It wasn't an octopus for sure, but it just
Oh,
felt really
wow.
juicy.
Right.
It just felt really juicy because then I felt like, oh my god, I need to have that. So I'm just standing there and they are grilling.
Yeah.
So he's like, okay, do you just feel this? Like, wow, this blue flame. Just come feel it. Like, put your hand here. I said, no, look, this
Yeah.
might be. He's look, just feel it. There's no heat. So I did that, and I could, there's blue flame going there, but there's no heat,
Wow.
and I could just feel. I said, what is this? He said, no, something isn't that amazing? I said, yeah, that's so cool. The flame is there, there's no heat. So, and I dismissed it. I mean, at that time, I didn't really think to myself, it must be some technology that they're doing, right?
That's two
Bec-
in a row.
that's true. That's true. Yeah, that's true in a row. And yeah, so I had this lady telling me that you, you know, like where were you,
Yeah.
right? This random, and I have new experience, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I've been chosen for this.
Yeah.
Like I've
Something.
been given, yeah, I've been. So I'm feeling really, I don't know. I mean, how should I say it? I've just always felt that, that it got offered to me. I was put in that situation, and
Yeah.
I could make sense of it. Look, so this, I mean, I dismissed it as some beautiful Burning Man experiences, and this is probably 2016, uh, 2018. Okay,
Okay.
and
So anything
and
happened
I,
since?
I'm sorry.
Anything happened since then?
The so the metaphysical thing which has happened on Clubhouse now, right?
Yes.
Which is almost like a breadcrumbs that
Right.
get thrown around in various rooms, and I've just been following the breadcrumbs, and I've just been surrounded by these beautiful souls that just seem to be so much more aware, and
Yeah.
my mind has expanded, my consciousness is expanding in that
Absolutely.
experience, and I just feel that sort of expansion, right? and where it's only now when I hear other people tell their stories about the
You,
metaphysical, the aliens, the what could possibly be. It's only yesterday when you heard me was when I was able to connect the dots that, oh my God,
yeah,
that what I just what in my head I couldn't
you,
explain,
yeah,
and I just dismissed. I didn't connect the dots there. Then I suddenly now connected dots. Like, okay, this might have been, this was something really so special because I mentioned. In fact, the technology piece. I remember mentioning it to my
yeah,
to my friend. They're like, you need, you could have possibly, you should have talked to that person more. You might have,
yeah.
you could have done something there. So clearly, I mean, clearly that was an experience. I can't explain
Did
it,
you
in
tell your
my.
mom about this experience?
I have not. I have not shared that. I've not shared that with my parents because
I
I
don't
knew
know why
they
I'm
would.
asking you that, but I get this feeling that you should tell your mom about it.
I no, I did. I told her about the intense spiritual awakening
Yeah,
experience or mind expansion that is happening with me on this app and the people that just met. And she says, look, she says, she says, I was told that at around around this age, 43, 40, 42, or around that age, that you would go into spirituality, right? And I always feared that when I was told this, I used to, my fear in my mind would be that you would become this ascetic who would just leave and go, who would
right,
leave everything behind and go away.
right.
And I'm just grateful that is not happening. So that was a sense of relief that she, that she, that she said. Joking.
Right,
But then she says, look, she says, and this is, and she's an extremely strong lady, right? I mean, she doesn't get
yeah,
faced by anything. So she's like, but I can tell you this, this place, this house has an energy. This is the spiritual energy which is there, and being surrounded by that, I think it just has an impact. So that is why I cherish it, and that is why I want you to cherish it even after I leave. So
right.
you know, uh,
What a, what
that was her
a,
sense of. I'm sorry, I lost that.
I said, what a beautiful
I
message.
could not hear you.
I said, what a
Yeah,
beautiful message.
absolutely. So yes,
Yeah,
yes,
what a
yes,
beautiful message.
absolutely. So
So, wow.
just
Well, we have to stay in touch so in case something else happens.
no, absolutely.
Was it
I
fun to meet you?
I'm feeling it.
Yeah,
I'm yeah, I'm feeling it.
good, good, good. It's a pleasure to meet you. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me, and thank
Thank
you
you.
for
Thank you. Did you
this.
want to share anything else or?
No, I think this is it.
Okay,
I'm glad that we spoke. I'm glad that you reached out, and
I'm glad
I
to.
haven't yet had the opportunity to look at your website and everything, but I will read up more, and I'm happy
Yeah.
to, just understand a
Okay.
little more. So, still a student.
Okay.
All
Okay.
right.
Well, you
Thank you.
take care. Thank you so much,
Please,
Amitji. Thank
a
you.
pleasure. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Bye bye now.